What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great week. It's Wednesday. Happy hump day. And we're almost to the end, coming over the home stretch. And just getting ready to finalize another week here. So we had our open enrollment this week begin. That's the start of our athlete strength and conditioning program for the summer. And began on Monday, and then we end, first week of September. So get all of our football teams in and ready to go. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was that, I speak to a lot of gym owners and fitness professionals and such every week. And, over the last couple of weeks, we've done a bunch of calls. We had a lot of people on the calls and stuff like that. So one of the things that it's remarkable to me that, and I did the same thing. So like I started my gym with really no business sense whatsoever. A couple of good ideas about, what I wanted my brand to be and what I wanted Varsity House to be, with the name, the logo, and things like that. But never, nothing on the marketing side and on the business side, and let's call it, operations or even leadership and stuff like that. I was always a good people person, kind of a natural leader, but not like, didn't have any, actual skill, right? Hadn't put any money in the bank, if you will, in that regard. So, but today, now, that we're talking, the late 90s, early 2000s, right? The information was not as readily available as it is today. As far as I know, there were no audio books. At least they were on CDs. I wasn't listening to them. And, the podcast and things like that weren't as prevalent and such. And, just the availability of information is so easy today. And with the industry kind of going the way it has been, where, we had this massive expansion in the early 2000s with CrossFit and a lot of other small, brand gyms like different, whether it's Pilates and yoga and things like that. We had this huge expansion, and then anybody who was anybody, with a college degree or not, and a couple days of experience training people, opened up a CrossFit gym because it was a good, maybe a good financial move, right? And it was, catch fire while it's hot, right? And so then, over the last couple of years, there's been a real retraction, and there's been a real movement in the industry towards, really high level run gyms. And because there's so much information out there, there's a million people doing, what me and Dan are doing in terms of business coaching, just not doing it quite as well or as personal as we're doing it, right? As real, because me and Dan actually own a real gym and actually really coach every day. So, just saying. And the reality is that why the hell aren't you learning how to market? What is the problem, right? When I talk to a gym owner, and you own a business, you've taken the ultimate leap, right? You've spent a lot of money and time. Why haven't you learned how to market? Why haven't you at least read a dozen or so books on marketing, on email copy? Dan Kennedy, read all his books. Jay Abraham, read all his books, right? There's a million others. I can give you a million, but those are two giant. Paul Go, right? Who I recently met, who I love his stuff, right? Recently met. Great stuff for the fitness industry, right? So there's a lot of guys out there who you can learn from, right? There's tons of podcasts on marketing and business development, right? You got to get your learn on, gang, right? I'm so tired of getting on the phone with a gym owner and be like, so tell me what you have coming up over the next quarter. What are some of your marketing initiatives? Well, I don't really have anything laid out yet. What the fuck? Like, you're spending money, bro. Like, you opened up a gym. You spent thousands of dollars. You're standing on the gym floor for 40, 50 fucking hours a week. Like, don't you want to fucking get paid? Don't you want to have consistent clients? Don't you want to get to a point where you have a reliable stream of good clients coming to you, and that you've built up your base, and then you could get to a point where you're like us, where it's like, all right, well, maybe we're going to shut down membership for a year, right? And it's like, what? Right? And then you don't have to even worry about that crap. Like, wouldn't you like to get to a point where you have enough clients, right, that paying the right amount of money with the right people, right, and you have a nice steady stream coming in because your marketing is consistent, right, and your message is consistent, and you're driving leads to your gym consistently. And that way, for every one person you leave, that leaves, right? Because there's going to be natural attrition. Nobody has 100%, retention, right? But, so there's always going to be some attrition. And so for every one person that leaves, there's 5, 6, 10 people knocking on the door saying, hey, this looks pretty cool. Let me see what you guys got going on, right? And then you can kind of pick and choose, who gets to be a lifetime member and gets to be a full-time member, right? Because it's like, wouldn't you rather have 20 people in the gym and give them all trials, right? And you're going through your trial process, and then you and your team identify the 4 or 5 people that you think are going to be freaking awesome, right? Because that's what we do. Right? We do a 6-week transformation, and when we have a bunch of people doing our onboarding process, it's like we'll sit down as a team. We'll be like, all right, we got 25 people in the queue, all doing trials in some sort, shape, or form. Who are the top 5 people that we absolutely want, that we all love, and we all vote, and it's like, these 5 people are amazing. And then it's like, okay, let's go to the next. We got the A people, we got the A- people, we got the B+ people, and it's like, all right, great. And we pick them out, and then and there's always a couple surprises. So I don't want to label clients or anything like that, but there's always a few surprises. You never know. Somebody who you thought might not be a good client might turn out to be a great client, and that's why you always have to put your best foot forward, right? But it all starts with your marketing plan. Word of mouth is dead. Trust me. Word of mouth is dead. Word of mouth is dead. When there are too many gyms, there's too much competition, there's too many big corporate companies that are doing small niche gyms like Orange Theory and M45 and Bar Method and all these others they're taking people. I have lots of clients in my gym who still go to a Cycle Bar, who still go to a Bar Method or a Pilates stance, who still go to an Orange Theory here and there when they're when they're whatever it might be, if it's late in the afternoon on a weekend and we're closed already, right? Things like that, right? So these companies are 100%, right, chipping away, and they got a giant marketing machine behind them. They got big money, right, and they're spending it, right, and they're consistently messaging your clients, right? So you have to stand out. Your message has to be consistent. Your coaching has to be great, right? And you got to market. You got to learn how to market. And you got to plan out. So we kind of break things down. Who, what, where, when, why, right? How, right? That's kind of the old adage, right? But who are you marketing to? What type of message are you putting out? When are you marketing? What's your calendar look like? How often are you sending out messages? Are you doing it? Are you, what type of message? How are you delivering it? Is it email? Is it social media? It should be a combination. It should not just be social media. It should not just be email. There should be email, social media, joint ventures, in public stuff, community outreach, hosting events, right? You got to do it all, right? You got because nothing works for everyone all the time, right? Some people respond really well to email. Some people are all over social media. Some people respond to text and things like that. So you gotta kind of find a balance with your marketing tree and branch out and have multiple streams, attracting different, leads from different areas, right? So if you don't know the who, what, where, when, why, how of marketing, right, you're kind of pissing in the wind, right? And you could be wasting a lot of money. So one of the things that I've noticed is that because there's a lot of these, fucking Facebook gurus and shit out there, and people and gym business launch expert fucking lying sacks of shit who are stealing people's fucking money, okay? Gyms are desperate. Guys working 60 hours a week, hasn't seen a return. Screw it. Let me plunk down another $1,000 a month for this. I'm going to spend $500 a month on Facebook ads, but they're not doing it right, and they're just pissing money into a fan, literally getting sprayed in the face with their own piss, right? Excuse the gross analogy, but it's the truth, right? Don't spend a cent on marketing until you've consistently mastered your who, what, where, when, why, and how, and you have a consistent message. You know who you are and who you're marketing to and how you're going to do it, and you've laid out a plan, and you're consistently sending emails, you're doing joint ventures, you're out in the community. We were already a 7-figure gym. We were already a community leader and a pillar in our local community long before we ever spent one penny on social media marketing and or hired anybody to help us with marketing, SEO, any of that stuff. We did it all ourselves, right? Put your nose to the grind. Get your shit together out there, gym owners, and learn how to market. Pick up a few books. I'll post a couple of my top marketing books on my Instagram feed, on my story. Check that out, and let's go, gang. Let's go. Hey, by the way, Dan and I are running a Sales Machine workshop that starts next week, next Thursday. Check the link in my bio.